Heidi Troyer's skin prickled as a gust of wind blew into her kitchen. After peeling and cutting an onion to go in the savory meatloaf she was making for supper, she'd opened the window a few minutes ago to air out the room. Glancing into the yard, Heidi watched as newly fallen leaves swirled over the grass. Across the way, freshly washed laundry she'd hung on the line a few hours ago fluttered in the unseasonably cool breeze. Even the sheets made a snapping noise when the wind played catch and release. They'd soon be saying goodbye to the month of August, and Heidi was glad. A long dry spell had caused some of the trees to drop their leaves early, and the rustling of those still clinging to the branches sounded like water rushing down a well-fed stream after a heavy rain. I wish it would rain. Even a drizzle would be nice. Heidi looked toward the sky, but not a single puffy cloud was in sight. September was a month of transition, teetering between warm, summer-like days and cool, comfortable nights, so maybe the rain would come soon. She looked forward to its fresh, clean scent, not to mention it removing the necessity of watering her flower beds and garden. Heidi glanced at the plot where she'd planted a variety of vegetables in the spring. The potatoes and other root vegetables still needed to be dug and put in the cellar, and she wanted to get the chore done before Kendra's baby was born and the adoption became official. Once the infant came, Heidi would put her full attention on raising the child. She'd already made the decision not to teach any more cooking classes, at least not until her son or daughter was older and didn't require round-the-clock attention. Heidi certainly couldn't teach and care for the precious baby, and she didn't want to juggle between the two, especially after waiting so long to become a mother. Heidi's senses were heightened, and she giggled out loud as she visualized herself holding the infant while stirring a batch of cookie dough. After being married to Lyle for 8 years and finding herself still unable to conceive, the idea of soon becoming a mother was almost more than she could comprehend. In a matter of weeks, her dream would finally come true. How thankful she was that Kendra had moved into their home and agreed to let them adopt her child. Once the baby was born and Kendra got her strength back, she would find a better-paying job and move out on her own. It wouldn't be right to ask her to leave until she was physically and financially ready. Heidi sighed. What a shame Kendra's parents turned their back on her, and she felt forced to give up her baby. But then, if they hadn't, Lyle and I would not have been given the opportunity to raise Kendra's child. Satisfied the onion smell was gone, Heidi took one more breath of late summer-scented air, then closed the window and took a seat at the table. She owed her Aunt Emma a letter and would start writing it while the meatloaf cooked. Maybe by the time supper was ready, Kendra would be back from her doctor's appointment, and Lyle from Mount Hope, where he'd put his auctioneering skills to good use most of the day. I can hardly wait for us to be sharing a warm meal at the kitchen table so I can hear about the events of their days. Heidi was most anxious to get updates on Kendra's doctor's appointment. She'd offered to go with her this afternoon, as she had several other times since Kendra moved in with them. Today, however, Kendra had said she had a few stops to make after seeing the doctor and didn't want to take up Heidi's day. I wouldn't have minded. I enjoy being with Kendra. Heidi's nose tickled, and she rubbed it, trying to stifle a sneeze. Smelling onion on her fingers, she wet her hands under the faucet, then rubbed them along the sides of their stainless steel sink. After a few seconds, she smelled her fingers again and was amazed the onion scent was gone. Heidi didn't know how it worked, but she was glad her friend Loretta had recently given her this unusual tip.